Hi everybody, it's Rhinannon. It's Tuesday, which is the moon, and this week's topic is the topic of fire, the element fire. Um, Eva Marie gave a lot of really great correspondences for fire. Her video was amazing. Um, what you know, and I agree with her on a lot of points. The correspondences. She is right that you kind of take what you want and what they kind of mean to you. And for the element of fire on my altar is usually represented by a red or an orange candle. A lot of times, I actually almost most of the time, I tend to stock up on my candles for my altar at like Yankee Candle and get the little tea light, not tea lights, the votives. And when I do that, a lot of the times it depends on the scent too. Like, it's not just about color for me in that case. I wouldn't want to get a red rose candle because to me, it's a contradiction because roses to me do not say fire. While they do represent love and passion, there's something about it in my brain that does not click that they are fire. Maybe it's because they are so soft. Roses always strike me as more of an emotional type thing because you're giving someone roses out of love or some token of caring. So roses to me represent water. It's very strange. So when I go to buy my votives, if I want red candles, it tends to go red apple, like the Macintosh apple, pumpkin, something that is in. When I think of fire, they go together. They have to make sense together, and I will do that with my votives. And the same thing goes. They make it pretty easy when you go in there for like water and for earth and for air, because for me, you get the blue candle, which most of the time they have like your blue ocean type candle, so duh, you get that. And then the same thing for earth, you end up with a wreath or something like that, and it's green. Sometimes it's even brown, depending on, like, they've got there's a log cabin one that comes off as brown, and of course, wood, earth, whatever, and flowers for yellow, or white. I use a lot for air. But for me, that my candles have to coincide with the same smell. I also use fire for divination. A lot of people use fire for divination. I have a divination candle that I will use that actually needs to be replaced, which is why I'm not even showing it. But I burn that candle and will meditate into the flame for images based around a question that I may have. And depending on, you throw a few things into the flame to watch it flicker and see what you get from that, herbs, things like that. So I will use my fire candle for divination. Divination is one of my stronger. There's a word. I'm tired, y'all. It's what I'm stronger. What I'm strongest at. I feel in a lot of ways is divination. So, she had mentioned the tools, and I agree with her with that. I think of fire as being the more aggressive of the elements. So, the more aggressive tools would be what I would attribute to fire in my athame. And even like she had mentioned, tarot cards. I know the tarot cards are often said as air, but I never, that didn't make sense to me. Wands always seemed like they were more air, because I don't know. There's just something about a wand that, because you point it, I guess, you point it in the air and you gain your power that way. and you project your energy that way through the air. So that makes more sense to me than swords being air. So I've always also attributed fire to the swords, and fire towards Athame, because it is, like I said, it's the aggressive element for me. I'm being blinded by the sun. I'm sitting here. This is sitting at my Thor altar, which that brings me to that he is my God that I follow, and he always comes across as very fiery to me. Most of the things on his altar are very fire. You know, the colors that are attributed to Thor, the stones that are attributed to Thor. It's a good mix for me of fire and earth. So my altar has the sun above him, the red candle, the carnelian on it. There is that was made for me by Sterling, and that is also carnelian beads. So I put that on my Thor altar, and his hammer, which is, you know, projects the lightning, and that's very fire. So his altar is very much fire to me. I tend to work with fire more when it comes to things and the craft. I do like my candles. A lot of my spells are done with candle magic. I'm very strong with candle magic. It was the first thing I was drawn to. It was one of the first things I got really good at and have a lot of confidence in, is candle magic. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. But definitely candle magic is something that is one of the easier, for me, in my opinion, crafts to learn, because there's so much to learn. It's a lot of the books are so broken down when it comes to that, you know, the colors and the way that you know, perform those, and how simple it can be, focusing your intention on the color and all that. I do tend to work with fire quite a bit. There's always candles burning in my home. There's always wax or something is going in my home that causes me to use a flame. I like to use it. It brings warmth into my home, I feel like, and it keeps it just very home-like feeling. And I guess maybe there was and keep the home fires burning is a saying, and you know, having a fire in your fireplace and everything is just very homey and peaceful and welcoming with a fire. And to me, fire is a sign of life, and I like to keep that going in my home. So I hope that some of this information helps. I feel like it's a little bit more put together this week. You're not in the dark. Last week I thought I was a little bit more in the light, and apparently that is not the case. So there's my altar, and maybe next week when I'm not so dead tired, there'll be some shot angle weird position of my face. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys next week. Blessed be.